Hey guys, this is just whatever, and today we're doing options. One of the things I wanted to talk about is just my journey. I was talking to a couple friends, and they were saying, "Yeah, you should do a video on what you've learned in options trading so far." So here it is. I started selling covered calls back on March 24th. So that was the first time I sold a covered call at all. And so about a month or so prior to that, I did all my research, did all the things I needed to do. I was watching endless YouTube videos, and I'll put some links in the description if you guys want to learn cover calls and other stuff I'm talking about. But I was going on and on and on about learning how to make some extra money. From November to about March to when I was actually got to selling a covered call, my position was going down and down and down. My portfolio was not looking good. I hold a lot of talent here. I own a lot of these high-tech growth companies, and they just weren't making any money. They were making no gains. So I was like, I need to find an extra way. I can't just sit on these stocks. And I think there was a video I'd watched by Dave Lee where he had on Emmett Peppers on. And Emmett Peppers talked about how he was trading within his Roth IRA. And that's majority of where my money is. I'd say over 90% of my money is in my Roth IRA. I don't make a whole lot. I work at a powder coating shop as a shop manager. So I make a little bit, but I'm just painting stuff. My salary is capped at a certain point. So at a certain amount of hours, that's what I'm going to make. So I figured out I need to be able to maximize my earnings potential. And Emmett Peppers, what he did is he took about $1,000 or $2,000 in his Roth IRA and bought Tesla calls and shot that thing up all the way to like a couple $1 million. So it's like, yeah, I need to learn this. This is important. So one of the things I started doing is gathering all the information I could. One of the things is I'm in Tom Natch's Discord, and he has a guy named Gabe, and Gabe is all about options. So I'm not sure if he even holds stocks, but he had two like Zoom calls within the Discord about options, just to teach people what it is, how to do it, and everything. So I was like, this is good. I was soaking in all information. So basically what a covered call is, from what I've learned, is that you can sell, say you own 100 shares of something, say Palantir, and you want to make some extra money on that, and you can do that. So you take 100% or 100 calls of that and put it into a contract, and you say, I want to sell at a certain price. So look at the price today. Right now it's about $9, and say you want to sell it. You say, I'll agree to sell this at $11. And there's other methods of doing this. I choose deltas to do percentages, but say you want to sell at $11. You just don't like the stock, or you want to get out, take some profits. You can choose that strike, and each certain strike has a certain amount of money that they'll pay you to obligate yourself to sell at a certain price. So at that point you say, okay, do that. And then they'll give you money in return to do that. And say a month out, you do it a week out, month, however long you do it, and it doesn't hit that strike. You then get to keep all that premium, and you get to keep your stocks, and you get to invest it somewhere else. Or say you do that immediately, and you say, I'm going to take these $10, these $100, whatever you get from your premium, and you go buy more of that stock, or buy a different stock, or diversify, do whatever you want. That's free money on the table. There's a guy on Twitter called Mike Street Bets. His portfolio is 100% Palantir. And what he does is he tries to sell $10,000 to $15,000 in covered calls income. So he probably has a couple million in Palantir, but he makes between $10,000 and $15,000 just selling covered calls, which is nuts. It's mind-boggling. And these are relatively low deltas, I would assume. So it's just mind-boggling to me that you can do this. And most of the thing is you get to choose your own risk. You're not beholden to the stock where it can go down to $7, $6, or it can just stay flat for a long time. You can take this into your hands and make some extra money. The downside to options selling covered calls is that you might cap your potential. Although there's a thing called rolling. I won't get to that into this video, but you can move that strike somewhere else, and you would have to pay premium for it to do it. But if you really don't want to sell a stock, just roll it. Just roll it. Take the loss. One of the things I did early on is that when I first did the covered call, I made some money. I said, I'm at 25%. I'm gonna take my money off the profit or off the table. And I learned later that I could have let that thing ride until 75% break even or 75% profit or 50% profit, and then took that risk off the table. And one of the things I did early on, there's a trade that I did, and I rolled it way too early. I think I put it on, I think it was 2 days after I did this one call, and I rolled it way too soon, and I lost. I think I lost $90 by rolling. When it hit expiration, it was nowhere near the strike. I could have done that. Over the past 2.5 months that I've done it, I've made $241.07. Now my portfolio it fluctuates between $9, sometimes $8 to $12,000, and with that, I'm able to make $241.07 just by doing nothing, just by saying I'll sell the stock. And most of the time, I don't. I don't think I've ever sold a contract in my portfolio yet, or been assigned to sell those shares. But I know it's going to come. I know people say, "Oh yeah, you're going to get assigned," but I'm very active in trying to roll it and make sure that I hold on to stocks like Palantir, hold on to stocks like Tattooed Chef. Although that's another thing, I might not be doing that, but that's extra money you can make on the table. And one of the things I also learned was cash secured puts. That's the other side where you are buying a certain stock. So say you can look at it like a limit order. Say you want to buy a stock at $10, and you can say, okay, I'll buy it at $10, put up $1,000, and then say this expiration is a month or so out. If that stock hits that $10, you're going to buy it, but you also get money up front. One thing I did is I said, I'm going to buy a Palantir at $10. It wasn't the smartest move, but I really like the stocks. At some point, I just hold it and sell cover calls against it. So what I did is I said I'm going to buy 100 shares of Palantir at $10, and I got 94 cents per premium or per share, and so my delta was really high, probably like 40-50%. And so it's a high probability of it going in the money and I getting signed. So what happened is I did that. About a week later, earnings came out of Palantir, and then after earnings, it went down to $7, and then at the end of the week, it was down to $6. So I was hurting really bad. But I know once I get assigned, I can sell cover calls on that. That's called wheel strategy. I'll put a few videos on the wheel strategy in the link down below, but that's something you can also do. So if I was to do that in that situation, I could even pick an $8 strike or a $7 strike and collect that premium. And then when I'm out of the money, when say the stock is at $10 and it hasn't reached $7, I get to keep that money. I get to do whatever I want. And even when I sell that $10 strike, and it even goes below, I can take that money and invest it somewhere else. Although I'm going to make a little loss in the stock, I'm going to make extra premium on that. And that was something that I'm still learning on it. I'm still very much learning as we go. And then one of the things I also recently learned is that you can do something called non-directional trades. I'm not going to get to that video, but it's super, super interesting. I haven't sold one yet, mainly because the brokerages I'm using. But that's going to change soon. And when I get in there, I'm going to release a video on that too. But anyone can learn these things. Cash secured puts, cover calls, it's not rocket science. If you're going to buy an option call, you can earn some money. You can also earn money buying puts. I've done that too. They're riskier than cover calls. They're riskier than cash secured puts, but that's something you can do. If you really, really believe in stock, there's also a thing called leaps. So you buy it, say you're gonna buy a stock, you're gonna do a like an expiration. You say in 2 years I'll buy it $5. Stocks are currently sitting at like 4 or 5 or 6. You can make money on that too. So that's something that I've just been really excited about and learning. I'm not going to go super deep into this. It's not really supposed to be a super in-depth video, but thank you guys. If you guys made it to the end, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.